Hi. Good evening, all of you. It's so awesome to be here. And I, first of all, would like to thank Pastor Jonathan David, Pastor Helen, and all the distinguished speakers and all the international participants for giving me the opportunity to share with you something that I'm very, very passionate about. A few years back, I had a heart attack, and the doctors didn't give me much chance of another lease of life. But God's will is always more than man's will. Amen. And here I am. And for many years, I had the problem of not being able to keep my doctors happy, because every time I go for a checkup, he will tell me this is not good, that is too high, this is too low. And until a time came when I come to the clinic, I didn't enjoy the visit. My doctor didn't enjoy seeing me. And each time I see him, he never smiles at me anymore. And 29 months ago, by the grace of God, I came into a product that I'm sharing with you today. And this product gave me a new lease of life. New lease in the sense that physically, I have never been healthier than before. And many of my friends who haven't seen me for the past so many months, whenever they see me, they will have a little shock. The shock is, what happened to you? And I have a story to tell. This evening, I'm much, much privileged and honored that I'm facing almost a world audience. And I'm sure you represent hundreds and thousands of Christians all over the world. And I thank you for this privilege. My passion today is to share with you this wonderful, wonderful medical device. And I was really, really glad Pastor Helen, in that short 5 minutes, could tell you about the device, which I cannot tell in 30 minutes. So very quickly, I'm given about 30 minutes. I want to share with you a short PowerPoint presentation about this medical device. You probably see me wearing a watch-like thing on my wrist, but this is more than a watch. This is actually a medical device that has been registered internationally as a medical device. So it's not a gadget, it's not a gimmick, it's not a watch. It is a medical device. And just a little about my company. I have the privilege to start a company to market this product. And we call this company Ventros. Ventros is short for values and traditions of success. I have been in my industry for about 40 years. And in these 40 years, my concern is about how we should be building enterprises based on values and traditions rather than on just bottom lines. My company's philosophy is something I think all of us can identify with. To live is to love and to serve. And this is my personal marketplace ministry, especially to Indonesia. Some of you are from Indonesia. Selamat datang. This company operates on 4 core values. The first of which is our value on Yes, proactivity. We want to be a proactive company, taking responsibility for all that we claim about our products, and to be working this business with integrity, and to love what we do and do what we love, and then to be providing the best service that we can. So this is my company, Ventros, and to kick off this presentation, a $6 million question. Yeah, it's a very expensive question. Are you ready? Okay. If you could live 30 years longer, would that sound a good prospect? Would you say no? If you could look 10 to 20 years younger, would you be happy? No, this is to ladies only, ladies only. You can say no. If you could be free from degenerating diseases, if you could be free from dependence on any drugs, if you could be free from being a financial burden because of ill health to the family, would you be interested? Would you be interested? Okay, even if you are not interested, would you know of somebody who is interested? I'm sure you know. Okay, then we are on the same page. I'm here to introduce to you this medical device that we call IM laser. IM stands for integrative medicine. This is the world's first two-in-one medical device for two very important functions: cleaning of our blood, at the same time restoring cell functions in the body. And these two functions are carried out instantaneously the moment you put on this therapy. And it is safe, non-invasive, no needles are used, effective, no side effects, very convenient. You can bring it anywhere you want to go, and it is always so handy. My latest experience from my friend is that they were having a meal in a restaurant somewhere in Taman Tun in KL. And then on next table, somebody were there for dining, and the elder lady around that table collapsed suddenly. And this person in this table happened to be one who was using this device. And seeing the other table, the person on the other table collapsed, she immediately went to that table, asked for permission from the other lady's husband to try out this and put it on the person who collapsed. Within 5 minutes, she woke up and was able to go to her car and went home. So this was something very, very marvelous, because I, for one, I didn't expect that this device could even be used for emergency purposes. And this device is for life preservation and anti-aging, for health restoration, as well as for pain and inflammation management. Some of you here, if you are in pain or you are having some inflammation somewhere in the body, I would strongly ask you afterwards, go to our stand there at the end here and go for a therapy. It's free. there's a direct positive impact from this therapy that concerns 8 body systems that covers more than 80 health issues. So it's a wonder device because it can help manage 8 body systems and more than 80 health issues. One of the issues concerns blood. Are we all warm-blooded here? Are we? I think we are not so much warm-blooded, but most of us come here thick-blooded. Our blood is too thick. And as a result of the high viscosity of the blood, then health issues come. So being warm-blooded is what we should be, but not thick-blooded. So if you suspect that you have high blood viscosity, please go to the stand afterwards. My colleagues, Phyllis and Andrew, will be there to help you to go through and understand deeper about this therapy. So the science behind this medical device, there are 3 things, very simple things that are behind this laser, this IM laser. The first thing is that about cells. This device handles all the health issues right at the cellular level. That means it goes to the cells. You see, we are all created in such a way that from head to toe, they are all cells. And cells come together, they form tissues, tissues form organs, organs form systems, and all systems together form this body. So for most times, if any health issues arise in the body, you can trace back to something wrong with a body system or some organs, some tissues, and of course, you trace back to the cells. Therefore, rightly speaking, any issue regarding health should be tackled at the cellular level. And this is how this device works. It goes to restore the cell functions so that if your cells can work as they should, then your tissues, your organs, your systems, your whole body should have good health, restored health. And the next thing is about blood. I think we are all agreed here that our life is in the blood. Is our life in the blood? By this I mean the quality. The quality of blood in the body will determine the quality of the life you can have. That is why just now I mentioned that most of us are unaware. We are here with thick blood, high viscosity. Now, this is one sure passport to many, many health problems when our viscosity is high. So what we have to do is keep the viscosity, the blood, thin. And so many people today are happily on blood thinners. And we think that that's the way to go. Blood thinners are never the way to go. If you're on blood thinners, can I recommend that there is a better alternative than being dependent on those blood thinners. My alternative is this, because one of the side effects of blood thinners is the stomach lining becomes ulcerous over time. Now, if you are onto this therapy, you can forego your blood thinners, because the moment the therapy is on, the laser through the meridian points that Pastor Helen mentioned just now, the laser will immediately go to work to thin down the blood and carry a lot of unnecessary waste that is hanging around inside the blood. And so when the blood gets thinner, flows better, more oxygen can be carried by the red blood cells to reach all the other parts of the body. And so this is one sure way of feeling fresher, healthier, and living longer, looking younger. And the next thing about this device is that it is making use of one of the most basic creations of God. Remember Genesis, one of the first verses, let there be light, and there was light, and thereafter creation followed. And to show the importance of light. So, as far as mankind is concerned, we all live because of one light process called photosynthesis. Probably we already forgotten some of this as we come out of school, colleges, and so on. Photosynthesis is that very process that the plant makes food from light. And as a result of that light that stimulates the green parts of the leaf, it makes food. And so that we won't go hungry. And this has been since Adam until today. Photosynthesis. So this device makes use of the same principle of photosynthesis, using light to stimulate the cell. And when light stimulates the cell, certain chain of events happen. And these things that happen as a result of that stimulation by the light is so vital, so important, and yet most of us don't have access to something so simple as that. We have more trust on what the doctor prescribes us than we have over what light can do for us. Can you accept my statement? Can you give yourself a clap? So, our premise here is that health issues has to be tackled at the cellular level. And this is exactly what this device will do. Because of the stimulation of light on cells, then energy is produced. And this energy is not just energy you think about for your walking and running. This energy is the chemical energy that must be present in every cell for it to be used up in what we call cell respiration, cell metabolism, so that the cell can regenerate, do its repair work, the cell can actually function as it should. If you want to know a simple mathematical perception of health, the simplest formula of health is the rate of repair must balance the rate of damage in your body cells. At any time, the rate of damage is more than the rate of repair or regeneration, you are in trouble. You're in trouble. And therefore, this equilibrium, this balance can only come about if we can have healthy cells all the time. To have healthy cells, you need to have energy to maintain the cells at that healthy level. Otherwise, cancer, aging, premature death of cells will become commonplace. In fact, most of us today live as though these are to be expected. Cancer is to be expected, this disease, that sickness, as though is to be expected. But this is so unnecessary, so unnecessary. One smart guy came up with this statement. He said that every health issue today can be traced to the deficiency of energy at the cellular level. And we believe strongly in that. And moreover, we believe that whatever your health issues are, and if you look forward to any restoration, remember, health restoration cannot just be managed by just looking at the symptoms and treating the symptoms. I sometimes have a hard time communicating this to my daughter, my son-in-law. They are doctors. I have sometimes on different page with them, because I said, most of the time, what you do is you treat symptoms. But that is not the way. And they think that their father is trying to be so clever. To me, we have to go to the cellular level. And if you and I today have a way of making ourselves healthy, functioning as they should, and supplied with the necessary energy for sustenance, there you have the key. You have the key. Can you click for me? I want to mention now about this energy. This energy is a chemical energy. And for today, our purpose here, just remember ATP. Can you say ATP to your friend? ATP? Just bring this word home, ATP. If you hear about ATP from now on, and you remember what I share here about ATP, I can more or less say that your life, your health, is going to be different from today. If you understand ATP, you remember it. Now, what this device does is, as it stimulates your cells with the light, the laser light, it starts to make your cell produce ATP. ATP. ATP is a short form for adenosine triphosphate. That part we don't have to remember. Just remember ATP. But I'm sorry to tell you, ATP in the cell, the production of ATP, decreases with age. Some of us here today feel a little bit OLD, right? Do you feel OLD? You see, I never mentioned this word. To me, this word is out. I canceled it out since 35 years ago. Can you please stop believing that you are OLD? Can you stop believing that? Never, ever, ever say that because my age is so senior now, so I am OLD. Age is only a figure. Those of you who are shouting yes, I'm sure you know that this is a good statement to live with. Age is just a number. So do not allow the deception that because now you are in your 60s, so you are OLD. if you want a better word, from today onwards, cancel out OLD, replace it with what? Huh? No. You are jumping the gun. Replace it with mature. So don't say, oh, I'm 65 years OLD. No. I am 65 years mature. Okay, just for a light moment, can you just look to the friend on the right, left? If he is more mature than you, can you tell him still got hope? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters in Christ, I am 65 years matured. But I was not like that 29 months ago. Every system in me was prepared to shut down. But I'm glad that the maturity of the years hasn't in any way made me OLD. And today I can testify that one of the reasons by God's grace is the ATP that is being produced in my cells through this device that every day without fail supplies that ATP to keep me young. This is the key to a new lease of life. And ATP is produced in your own cell. That part of the cell is called mitochondria. Can you just say that, mitochondria? This is the ATP powerhouse. But as I told you just now, by the time you are 60, you have lost about 50% of your ability to produce ATP. And that is the reason why today a 6-year-old boy and a 60-year-old man, if both fall down, the 6-year-old boy can get up and cry a little and he starts running. The 60-year-old man who falls, you probably have to start burying him. Because of the ATP. Because by the time you are 60, you will have lost about 50% of the ability to produce ATP. What about all the supplements and food that we eat? Are they not helping to produce ATP? They are. But because of our modern lifestyle, because of the stress that we live with, because of the pollution around us, our food nowadays cannot get digested, metabolized in a way that it should. And so a lot of them just go to waste. For every $100 you spend on a food supplement, a health supplement, 70% are going to come out as waste. And hopefully 30% that has been absorbed helps to produce some ATP. So I got this picture. I just want to show a cell, a typical cell in the body. But what's important is to let you see where your mitochondria is. That is your ATP powerhouse. As age increases, many of the mitochondria dies. Many of the mitochondria just dies. But with this therapy, you have a chance to make the mitochondria come alive and start producing ATP again. There's that part of the mitochondria, if you just cut a section, it looks like a labyrinth inside it. This is given a name called the cytochrome C complex. It is inside there that stimulation by light produces that all-important ATP. Not only that, there's NO, nitric oxide. Please do not think nitric oxide is just a laughing gas. Nitric oxide is more than that. Nitric oxide is been proven to be a vasodilator. That means help our blood vessels, to be able to allow blood to flow more smoothly and without the plaques bothering the veins, the arteries. It's a good vasodilator. NO is now also proven to be that small molecule that helps to increase our memory. So those of you who feel so matured today, that your excuse is you can't remember a lot of things. You can't remember God's word, you can't remember all that. Can I ask you to look into increase of NO? And you can do this naturally by this therapy. Every time the laser hits the mitochondria, ATP comes out, NO comes out. That's why you always feel fresher with the therapy and you recall things faster on this therapy. And not only that, it brings out the ROS. I think there are some doctors here. ROS is a reactive oxygen species. This is the molecule that actually can have the ability to neutralize free radicals. And as you know, if we can neutralize free radicals, we have a way of delaying any onset of cancer, any attack of cancer. And these three things come about every time the laser hits the mitochondria. So if you are onto this therapy twice a day, that's all, twice a day, 30 minutes each, you have enough ATP, nitric oxide, ROS for the rest of the day. And that's why life preservation is possible. It's possible. And this is the term that is behind this science. It's called photo. Photo, as you know, is light. Stimulation. To stimulate the mitochondria to produce the ATP, the NO, and the ROS. It's photo stimulation. Sometimes it's called photomodulation. And this is just a brief summary. Cold laser that I'm using at 650 nanometer. You have no picture about how small nanometer is. 1 nanometer is 1/1 of a meter. It is so small. So 650 nanometer is still so small that it cannot do any damage to the body. It cannot produce any side effects to the body. And this laser will send, can you click this? Send light energy called photon into the mitochondria. And as you know, inside the mitochondria, the cytochrome C complex will start to produce and release the ATP and the NO and the ROS. And all this is for what? For the survival of the cells, survival of the body. And can I go back to that one? And as a result of sufficient ATP, NO, ROS, healing of damaged or injured tissues takes place. There's a reduction of pain, reduction of inflammation, and any swelling, edema, swelling, reduction in healing time takes place. Because inside the cell, metabolism in the cell is speeded up. And so the cell functions as it should. And this is really, really great because this is where we tackle all health issues at the cellular level. So I just introduced to you this term called cold laser. To explain to you cold laser, I have to make you understand hot laser. Because directly or indirectly, we are all more familiar with hot laser. Hot laser is used in surgery, in operation. If you go to remove cataract these days, they use laser for the operation, for the surgery, for cutting. It's high energy. But cold laser is a different field altogether. Cold laser is about using laser that is of very low frequency. And this is only for therapeutic purposes. And usually, the bandwidth is 600 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. This is called the therapeutic range. In fact, this range is classified and approved by the US FDA as therapeutic laser. So this medical device called IM laser uses 650 nanometers. It's very safe, no side effect, and there is no danger, risk of using it. This is for home use. Before this, even up to 10 years ago, to have any laser therapy, you must go to a clinic or go to a hospital. But today, with this device, you do it in the comfort of your own home. And just now, Pastor Helen mentioned, it's integration of two technologies. One, the Western laser therapy, and the other is the ancient Chinese acupuncture therapy. When combined, these two, it becomes potent. If laser alone, but doesn't hit the meridian points, you can get some benefits, but it is not that fantastic. But if you combine laser therapy with acupuncture therapy, you actually get a 20-fold increase in efficacy. There is a 20-fold increase because you are directing the ATP to the meridian points. So I probably want to quickly sum it all, and then afterwards, if you have questions, if I have time, I will handle it from the floor. Otherwise, if you have questions, you can see me at the stand later on when you go there. Okay? And the distinct advantages is this therapy is fast, it is safe, it is very effective. Especially if you know of anybody who has suffered stroke. Our work with stroke patients have been very successful. Even though he is 3 to 5 years of background having stroke, this therapy has never failed to provide some relief in terms of mobility, in terms of nerve functions. We have so many testimonies where we helped stroke patients to rehabilitate. If you know of somebody who has got a kidney failure, undergoing dialysis, you know how exhaustive and exhausting dialysis is? And most of them who are on this therapy, their dialysis after 2 months of use to 3 months, from 4 times a week, probably will be reduced to 3 times a week. From 3 times a week will reduce to probably 2 times a week. And that for a dialysis patient is very good news. Otherwise, that extra 1 or 2 times a week actually takes away that extra 1-2 days of his life in that week. No side effects, no damages to body tissues and organs because the wavelength is so small. It is the safest and most effective alternative treatment compared to using drugs and supplements. Drugs and supplements are based on the premise that your body, your cells can absorb well. But most of us, when we are having health issues, the absorption in the cells is already impaired. So that is why drugs and supplements will not be able to measure up to its efficacy in terms of efficacy as far as this device is concerned. And potentially it's 99% effective, because the moment you turn the button on and the laser works, it instantly stimulates your cells to release ATP, against 25 to 35% efficacy from drugs and supplements. If you have ever tried infrared products, negative ion products or gadgets, I would like to humbly suggest to you, try this. This is 6,500 times more effective than far infrared and the negative ion devices. And I want to end with this short video clip so that you can appreciate what's happening in your blood. Yeah, are you all ready? Click, please. Sound?
Light that penetrates into the tissue can be absorbed by melanin, hemoglobin, oxyhemoglobin, and water. Energy from these absorption events will be dissipated as heat, generating a soothing warmth in the tissue. The primary target for photobiomodulation is the cytochrome C complex, which is found in the inner membrane of the mitochondria. Cytochrome C is a vital component of the electron transport chain that drives cellular metabolism. As light is absorbed, cytochrome C is stimulated, leading to increased production of ATP, the molecule that facilitates energy transfer within the cell. In addition to ATP, laser stimulation also produces free nitric oxide and reactive oxygen species. Nitric oxide is a powerful vasodilator and an important cellular signaling molecule involved in many physiological processes. Reactive oxygen species have been shown to affect many important physiological signaling pathways, including the inflammatory response. In concert, the production of these signaling molecules has been shown to induce growth factor production, to increase cell proliferation and motility, and to promote extracellular matrix deposition and pro-survival pathways. Outside the cell, nitric oxide signaling drives vasodilation, which improves microcirculation in the damaged tissue, delivering oxygen, vital sugars, proteins, and salts while removing wastes.
So this is that summary of what I said, and I thank all of you, brothers and sisters in Christ, for this opportunity that you have given to me, Pastor Jonathan David, Pastor Helen, all the distinguished speakers. I trust that you have benefited from this sharing. And remember, ATP. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Lim. I hope you are more enlightened now about what the product is all about. All right, this morning we already asked for two testimonies, Pastor Sylvia